Nice. Hey guys, I'm Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Pat Schlapper. I'll give you a little tackle tip today on spring jig fishing. Early on, I mean the last couple years of my Elite Series career, in the spring, a jig has played a key role. I've caught some really big fish on it, you know, one over 10 pounds in Chickamauga this last year, and just several key fish. It's something I've got a lot of confidence in and I've used for a long time. But there's I kind of have a 1-2 punch of how I go about jig fishing in the spring as far as when I'm flipping a jig. My bread and butter is going to be the lock and load from Kariji Sakana, 3/8 or 1/2 ounce, and I'll typically put a big bite chunk on there. Now if the water's real cold, I will run the old school Uncle Josh pork frog, but mainly it's going to be that big bite chunk. And on this setup, this is something where I'm flipping into lay downs. I know that there's a lot of big fish around and I really got to have the power to get them out. So that I'm typically running 22 or 25 pound Sunline shooter fluorocarbon, 7.4 heavy power fast action St. Croix Victory. This rod's got a lot of backbone, a lot of power. So when I set the hook, I don't have to hesitate. I mean, with that line, high-speed reel and that rod, I don't stop reeling, you know, and typically I'm swinging them in the boat. I'm not grabbing them, unless they're like a 10 pounder, then I'll grab them, but typically I'm swinging them in the boat. On the other end of things, say a fish through an area or somewhere's got a lot of pressure, or maybe it's gotten real tough, it's really clear water, then what I do a lot of times is I'll go to another jig from Kariji Sakana called the Little Eddie, and this is another one that I designed kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. We make it in a 1/4 and a 3/8 ounce. It kind of has a hybrid, you know, bullet cobra head design and a lighter weed guard. It's only got a 2-aught hook. It's something that if you tried throwing on my other jig setup, you would straighten that hook right out. So on this one, I'm throwing on a 7.1 medium heavy power fast action St. Croix Legend Tournament, and I usually go down to typically 16 pound Sunline shooter. Sometimes I'll go to 14, and it's one of those deals where I've caught a lot of big fish on it, but it's not one you're going to swing a 5-pounder in the boat on. It's really finesse. So when you hook that fish, I mean, you got to let it kind of do what it wants to do. So typically I'm not throwing this into a really thick laydown where I might hook up with a 7, 8, 9 pounder. You might be able to get them out, but chances are you're probably not. So, but it's a real compact. It comes through cover unbelievable if you're flipping light brush or grass, and it just gives them a different look. I think that a lot of times when people throw a jig, they only do that big jig and they don't go down to a little compact one. And it's just something I've developed over the years where if I'm fishing a jig, I'll have both of them out all the time. And sometimes it's the big jig, sometimes it's the little jig, sometimes it's a combination of both. But either way, if you got a jig in your hand in the spring and you get a bite, there's a good chance it's going to be one you want to bring to weigh in.